Good morning and welcome to day 3 of the Age Freely Fitness and Wellness 14-day workshop. Today I'm going to be talking about the solution. And when I say solution, I mean my recommendations for building lean body composition during the menopause transition. We all know, and most of us have probably been trying very hard already and had our routines and our workouts, and suddenly they stopped working. Today I'm going to go through the solution to that problem, and by the end of it, you should have a pretty good idea of what practices you can put into place to change things and turn things around. And one quick reminder, don't forget to do your homework today and also to register for the live workshop that will be this Thursday at 12 p.m. That's Pacific time, sort of Vancouver time. And if you cannot attend, I will be recording the session. Be there live if you can. And we will be working on creating a plan for each and every one of you to put all of these learnings into place and to start your journey towards a lean body composition during the menopause transition. I look forward to having you there.
I'm going to be talking to you about the Age Freely Matrix for achieving lean body composition during the menopause transition. And as I shared before, a few years ago, I hit perimenopause. I have always been fit. I've worked out. It's been a huge part of my life. Ate fairly healthy, not perfect, but managed to maintain a healthy body weight and feel strong. And all of a sudden, things went awry. And I put on weight very, very quickly, about 10, 15 pounds. I lost muscle. I just did not feel like myself. I didn't have energy. And I had to work out more and more and more. I was doing more and more cardio. I was eating less, and things just got worse. I really dived into the research and started working with my personal trainer, who also started doing a bunch of research into perimenopause. And together we started to change my approach to fitness, my approach to my lifestyle, my approach to my nutrition. And from there, I started to develop the Age Freely program. And I was able to really hone in on the research about women specifically, and women in the menopause transition. And I'm following the leading experts and researchers. I'm not at all swayed by sort of trends. I'm very grounded in the science. And so I have developed a program and an approach that I think will benefit every single one of you. And I'm going to share it with you now. The number one thing for women in the menopause transition is strength training, and strength training including lifting heavy. The reason for this is that when our estrogen declines, we need an entirely different set of circumstances to build lean mass. And one of those things is we need a more extreme stressor, short-term stressor, to activate our bodies to start to build muscle. And this is what estrogen used to do, and it's no longer there. And so there's no big surprise why we're losing muscle. Even though we're working out, we need to be lifting heavier weights. And I understand that not everyone is ready to lift heavy weights. And so it's really a progression from body weight, getting the range of movement down, and then progressing to heavier and heavier loads, and also changing up sort of your lifting in terms of length of time you're contracting, things like that, to really increase the overall load. And this is called progressive overload, in case you're curious, and some of you probably already know that. Strength training is incredibly important. We're looking at at least 2 to 4 days a week. The other piece that's incredibly important is what's called high intensity interval training, and this includes sprint interval training. And so HIIT is often used in many kind of workout routines, and it's not actually happening. And so for it to be true HIIT, what you're looking for is getting to about 80 to 90% of your max heart rate, if you happen to have a device where you can take your heart rate and you know what your max heart rate is, or it's really on a scale of sort of 8 to 10 on a rate of perceived exertion. So if you're like, holy smokes, I just went all out, chances are you're doing HIIT. And if you can do it longer than 2 minutes, you're probably not doing HIIT. This is short intervals, anywhere between 30 seconds and 2 minutes usually. Maybe you can push that a little bit higher, depending, but it is short intervals with a break in between so you can recover and then you go again. And depending on what you're doing, sometimes you can do that for about 10 to 15 minutes. If you're doing all out sprint intervals, you're probably going to be doing it for a shorter period of time, 30 seconds on, maybe a minute rest, and then 30 seconds on again. And you're maybe only getting to, if you're just starting out, 3 of those. Again, this is a more extreme stressor, and it's a condition we need to build lean mass in our bodies and to build muscle and start to lose fat. HIIT is really fun in that there's a lot of different things you can do for HIIT. You can do the old-fashioned, I'm going to sprint up a hill. You can jump on your bike, and after warming up, all of these things require you to warm up. You can cycle up a hill. You can, in the gym, get on the treadmill and put it on an incline and walk or jog as much as you can. Again, getting that heart rate up. You can get on an assault bike. If you know what those are, you know what I mean. Those are a lot of fun. But you can also do things like incorporating plyometrics, which are also really important for the stage of life as well. Plyometrics or power-based exercises can both be incorporated into strength training and HIIT. So something like box jumps, skipping, high knees. You can have a little bit of a routine of HIIT that's not necessarily just on one piece of equipment. You can make it fun and do different things and keep it interesting, depending on what you like. The other piece that's so incredibly important is how we're nourishing our bodies. And we need to be getting, our conditions again have changed. So we don't get away with as much as we used to as far as eating, but it doesn't mean that we have to have a perfect nutrition plan. I love to eat. I love to go out to eat. I just have to be more conscientious at this stage of life. One of the things that is so incredibly important is we need to get more protein at this stage of life. It's going to help us build muscle, and it's going to help with all sorts of functions in our body. And so it does take work to incorporate enough protein. I aim for about 128 grams a day for myself, and it takes work. And I have to do meal planning. I do need to make sure that I know what I'm going to be eating most days as far as my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It doesn't mean I don't have an off day and I'm just traveling or doing whatever, but it does take, this is a habit that takes some work, and you need to a place where it's going to work for you. But getting enough protein is essential, as well as whole foods, trying to cut out the processed foods, lots of fruits and vegetables, leafy greens. I mean, we've all heard this. It's super important we're getting fiber at this stage, because during the menopause transition, our gut biome changes. So we've heard of probiotics and things like that. Well, we need fiber to feed the good, healthy bacteria in our gut. So it becomes even more important at this stage of life. And it takes, a little bit of planning, but it certainly can be with foods that you love and foods that taste great. And we do need carbohydrates. So this is not about cutting out carbohydrates. We have we need a little less than what we used to. You do want to stack your carbohydrates around your activity. So if you're working out, you definitely want to get some carbohydrates around then, as well as some protein. And carbohydrates come from a range of sort of whole grains, as well as fruits and veggies. So they're definitely a big part of our nourishment. And eating regularly, not putting ourselves into deprivation, is so important, especially for our cortisol, which is a major culprit in gaining weight and losing our lean body mass. So if you can think about it in terms of, if you are going without food and you're not nourishing properly, your body is going to go into sort of that wired but tired mode, and you're going to be benefiting. And when you're working out, if we're not eating properly, we're kind of defeating, I wouldn't say entirely defeating the purpose, but we are diminishing our results in a big way. And that leads me to stress and cortisol. And we hear about this so much, and it seems sometimes like a losing battle, because during the menopause transition, our cortisol response actually goes up. And cortisol in and of itself is not horrible, but it does elevate. And when we have chronic stress and we're not activating our parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, and we're in that fight or flight too much, we run into trouble. And this is probably the most challenging one for me, is incorporating a little bit of some routine around activating my parasympathetic drive, a little bit of breathing throughout the day. I do a quick meditation in the morning. I do a bit of a sleep routine at night. And I try to just do even a minute or two of breathing throughout the day, just to activate that parasympathetic drive. So just to recap, we need to lift heavy, strength training, and you can work up to that by starting with body weight. You do really need to eventually get to a gym. Unless you have really great gym equipment at home and free weights, you're going to eventually probably need to some sort of gym environment where you can incorporate strength training. And this is not easy for everyone. I get that it's totally intimidating for a lot of people. So if you're working with a trainer, I train people online, and then I help them get set up and ready for the gym. It's just going to be part of a routine that hopefully everyone can implement, unless you've got a really great gym situation at home. And then, of course, the HIIT. And the strength and the HIIT are about creating a stress on the central nervous system. And you think, like, why would you want to do that? We don't want more cortisol, but this is a good stress, and this is what we need to take the place of estrogen. So these are two things that are essential, really, to building that lean mass during the menopause transition. So I'm just going to walk you through just a very brief idea of what a weekly schedule could look like. Mondays is often meal prep time, and depending, unless you have sort of a different work schedule. So I hate grocery shopping, so I often order my groceries online. I do a bit of meal prep in terms of, or planning. I use an app to sort of basically take recipes from Instagram, which I love watching different food and different meal ideas from Instagram, and it will actually download the whole recipe and give me a grocery list. So it's really cool. So if you're interested in that, let me know. It's free. I'm pretty sure it's free, or I'm paying a very small amount because I don't even know about it. I always do meal prep, and I try to plan for my protein. Every day, because that's the one that is very challenging for me, is getting enough protein. And I also just like to take it easy on Sundays. So I do a nice light jog or a very long walk with friends or family. And I just need to give my body that active recovery and just chill to get ready for the week. And then Monday, I start with a very short meditation at 5:30 a.m. when I get up. It's just to sort of ground me for the day and help with some of my anxiety when I get out. I don't even get out of bed, but when I'm just laying in bed, I often find I get kind of stressed when I first wake up. And then I hit the gym. 45 minutes to an hour. Then I always make sure that I'm breathing throughout the day, and then also incorporate a bedtime routine. It's often just a really quick 10-15 minute yoga routine, which there's millions of them, sort of ideas on the internet. Tuesday is pretty much the same. I make sure I incorporate some HIIT and do the same things, have a nighttime sort of routine and a morning routine. Wednesday, I have a more chill day. I get up a little bit later. I do a meditation. I like to do a walk at lunch with a friend, or sometimes a light jog. And then 9 p.m. again, it's winding down, trying to really prepare myself for sleep, because, so many of us are struggling with sleep right now. Thursday, again, back to the gym, get a little bit of HIIT, do my strength training, and have the same morning and bedtime routine. And then Friday, again, chill. I get to sleep in a little bit. I do a walk or light jog at lunch, and then my bedtime routine. And then Saturday, I do an outdoor boot camp with ladies, and I love it. And it just feeds my soul. And so if you have things that you do that you love, it doesn't mean you have to stop doing them. It just means that you need to adapt. So if you're a CrossFitter, you might want to do some days where you focus more on the cardio piece and some days where you focus more on strength, but you really need to optimize sort of the strength training in and of itself, so you're not tiring out, you're not getting sort of the full lifts in, and vice versa. If you're focused on cardio, you don't want to be wearing, or when I say cardio, more the HIIT aspect of it, you want to sort of give your body the chance to really optimize that part of that. Or if you love to run or you love to cycle, you can have all of those activities that feed your soul. It's just making sure that you're getting in, at least 2, ideally 4 strength training sessions a week, and at least 2 HIIT sessions, include some plyometrics or jumping or power-based exercises.
So I'll be sending out a summary of the Age Freely Matrix, so look for that, and it'll be posted on the Facebook group as well, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.